G'day legends, it's Aiden and James here from Twin Elements, and we're here today at the Venture HQ hunting store in Brisbane. Today we're going to run you through 5 rookie mistakes that new bow hunters make when hunting in the outdoors. The age-old one that is super common is just not breaking in your boots. So boots are one of the most essential bits of kit that we've got in our arsenal. And just going on a trip unprepared, chucking those new boots on and having not broken them in prior often can lead to blisters and then less miles covered when out in the field. It's the same if boots are obviously an obvious one, but it's the same as if you've got a new backpack, new bit of gear, new broadheads, new arrows, anything, and you haven't shot them prior, you haven't worn certain bits of gear prior, it doesn't quite fit or it rubs or chafes. This is going to make you more uncomfortable and not hunt effectively.
The next one is not having your broadheads absolutely razor sharp. So the Cougars, I love them because they come out of the packet straight away ready to go. But what you really need to invest in is learning how to get your broadheads razor sharp and do it at home. So if you can't do that, like the pilot cut here on the right can be a little bit more difficult to sharpen. So using something like the Zot or just a standard 2-blade broadhead that you can just run over a stone or a belt file is definitely going to help keep your broadheads sharp. And we owe it to the animals that we hunt to have that so that we can get the most ethical kills and so they limit suffering for the animals.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing worse than doing all the hard yards, doing everything correctly, and then sort of letting yourself and the animal down by taking a shot with broadheads that just aren't shaving sharp and aren't going to cut it.
The next one that's really important is hydration. So we like to carry a 3-litre water camel pack. Firstly, I like a camel pack over bottles because you can have it constantly sitting there in your backpack. It means that you're constantly rehydration. Whereas I find with bottles, people, they might only stop once or twice for a morning hunt and they're not actually like rehydrating. Often you get back to camp and you've still got a bottle or two where obviously you're out there, you're walking around the mountains or even anywhere and you're sweating it out. So having a camel pack just means that you can constantly have it on your shoulder, be drinking, rehydrating. And having a 3-litre capacity, I just find that, you're covered. And if that morning hunt does extend out into the afternoon and whatnot, you've got plenty of liquids on you and you're not going to get in a situation where you get really dehydrated, get disorientated or get heat stress or something like that. You've got plenty of water and liquids to get you through the day, even if you do turn into a whole day hunt.
I can certainly vouch for that, doing the guided chital deer hunts up in North Queensland, Australia, where it's often hot and humid with temperatures exceeding sort of that 30 degrees Celsius range. And just having the camel pack there, as James said, and you can obviously pass it through your backpack and have it there as something that you can sip along throughout the day. It just really helps in preventing heat stress and things like that. You're obviously sweating, losing all those precious electrolytes and salts. And then by just having something you can sip on all day rather than, I don't know if it's something that I've associated more with the guided hunts where people are a little bit intimidated or don't potentially want to speak up and say, hey, can we just have a break? Can I just stop and have a bit of a drink? They'll walk for a bit further, push themselves. And if they've only had one stop for the day to, crack the water bottle that's sitting in the back of their backpack, they're sort of only drinking every couple of hours. Whereas again, as soon as you sort of feel a little bit thirsty with the camelback right there and accessible, you're just able to funnel a lot more water into yourself, which is going to be essential throughout the duration of the day. Our next tip revolves around binoculars and sort of optics, especially, our favorite saying is that they're not just an expensive bit of jewelry around your neck, or in this instance, in a harness. So making sure that you use them, whether it's taking one step, glassing if you're walking a ridge line or a bit of a sort of gully system, or if you're even sitting up on a elevated perch, looking over a whole basin, just make sure you've got the binoculars out. I personally love the 10x50s or 10x52s, something along that optic line. Get comfortable. You can do little things like holding the top of your hat there like that. Just making sure that you're assessing everything in front of you. The last thing you want to do is be walking more and glassing less, because you're just going to spook animals, and obviously the more you're walking, the more scent you're putting down. So just using quality optics, assessing what's in front of you, paying attention to all the little things, the sign, picking up, and especially match the time of day. If it's going on to lunchtime and the animal's going to be bedded in the shade, find all the little glassing knobs and things where they're going to be perched up on that ridge with a bit more shade. Look in there, rack your focus and have a real good look.
Yeah, I definitely think optics is one of the things that's most underutilized by the full range of hunters, whether it be novice or experts. Like, there's very few people I've ever been on a hunt with that I feel like they overuse their optics and they're not walking fast enough. Most of the time, the case is that people are walking too fast, they're spooking game, they're not using the optics, they're not spotting game first. Like we said, it's an expensive bit of kit, so you want to use it. Don't just keep it around your neck. The last bit of kit that we want to talk about is just preparing and making sure you've got adequate wet weather gear, or making sure that you can stay out there. And if the conditions do get worsen and you start getting a bit of rain or a bit of sleet, even a bit of hail in certain spots in Australia, that you've got the kit to sort of stay out there and be safe. So this is the Numa rain gear. It's super light, super durable. I mean, this is perfect. You just put this in your backpack and forget about it. It barely weighs anything. It's super lightweight, but completely waterproof in the sense that, you chuck this on and it starts pissing down, you're going to be comfortable and you're going to be able to keep hunting, as opposed to as soon as it starts raining, a lot of people, and we were like that originally, like we used to sort of run it pretty tough and not have adequate gear. And, it means that you've got to come back for safety reasons earlier in a hunt, as opposed to having something like this where you can just put it on, sit on a tree for 10, 15 minutes, keep nice and dry, take it off, put it back in your dry bag, and then just keep on going on your hunt. 3B cream, essential bit of kit for me. I don't know, I think most people in Australia, whether fitness is an issue, but definitely thick thighs. Getting chafe on a hunt is like the worst thing in the world. So I know for me, especially on extended hunts, just having a tube of 3B cream in your backpack. I've seen so many hunters, rookie mistakes, get really bad chafe, and then you can barely walk the next day because you're just in so much pain. Using 3B cream is going to prevent that and just mean that you can keep hunting onwards for a whole trip.
Well, there you have it, guys. Whether it's boots, broadheads, wet weather gear, 3B cream, binoculars, by simply, taking into account some of these tips and tricks that we've suggested in relation to gear and just preventing, failure or unsuccessful circumstances out in the field, make sure you come into Venture Hunting Outdoors. They've got the Hamilton store in Victoria, the Springwood store in Brisbane, and then they've obviously got the website, which is online at Venture Hunting and Outdoors.